It's Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. Welcome to our 138th edition of our broadcast here in the Issues Room. I'd like to welcome you this evening, wherever you are, to this broadcast that promises to be a good one. If you just joining us for the first time, we say welcome. This is a platform that is for you, our audience, particularly those of you who are from Liberia, from the continent of Africa, and those of you who are here in the diaspora from Africa. The conversation we hold has to do with politics, religion, education, health, sports, entertainment, whatever it is, we cover it all. We are the alternative to all of the social media platforms here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn, where our broadcasts come through. We'd like to say thank you for being a part of this broadcast, this platform, committing your time and resources to being there with us. And when we say resources, not monetary, but it's just the fact that you can be there utilizing electricity, your gadgets, and stuff like that. That makes it even compelling for us to recognize you. As usual, Frederick Monyu is always the first. We'll have to give you the First Man Award at some point for your continued dedication to the platform. Frederick, we say thank you so much for showing up all the time when we come your way. This evening, we say we'll be discussing some very important top issues with regards to the topic we have here tonight, and it's still lean toward our elections. But let me just go across the pond, bring in my colleagues. I'll start with Alphonso tonight. Let's take it from another angle, and then also Moses Sandy, who is out there in Newcastle. Man, I just love that place name, Newcastle. Yeah. You know,
We are British people, man.
yeah, Newcastle, and my man is from the,
It's an English name, yeah.
and then and little man Alfonso is from Bucks County.
Yeah.
You know,
We are
yeah,
British people.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Newcastle.
So that's Bristol,
Yeah.
not far from him. Bristol is an English city and town, and then
Yeah.
in
I wouldn't even
Levittown.
think that Levittown wouldn't be, because
It probably is.
it
It
is,
probably
yeah.
is. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
gentlemen,
well,
welcome. It's good to be back here. We were just together Sunday for the Alja Delvad chapter meeting, and here we are now in in the issues room here on the platform. Everyone were issues room, issues room, issues room.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's time to talk issues here tonight.
yeah.
absolutely. And I'm happy to be here, to be back with you all, guys. The issues confronting our community, our country, are grave, and it's always a good thing when we meet under the quote unquote palaver hut, which is what our people did in the past, to discuss issues confronting their communities and the society. Talking about issues is how you find solutions to them. Creating a platform to engage the community, everybody, to have a conversation is how you find common grounds. So this is great. It's great to be with you all. I hope members of the public can join, and let's have conversation about critical issues affecting our country and people, especially the upcoming national elections, because those elections are really critical and pivotal to where we go as a country. And then, of course, other issues as may come up, including
And
what
don't
kind of
forget,
what kind of country is this?
he's seen the Liberian way. What kind of country is this? What type of country
What
is
type
this?
of
Oh, what
country
type
is
of
it?
country is it?
Yeah, that's the Liberian way. What kind of country
What
is
kind
this?
of country is it,
And
man?
maybe we should say, what kind of country is this?
I think so. Let's Liberianize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moses,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. Like you guys said, the issues room is the place to always be because this is where we come to dissect the issues of the day. And since the creation of this platform, we have been able to touch, the lives of so many people, educated people on several topics. So, as always, it's a pleasure to be in the issues room. And tonight I have come to discuss those issues that matter most.
Let me
Thank you.
quickly say that our guest tonight is Jay Yankwe Zize. He's expected to join us. He's the chairman of the Liberia People's Party, and that's the party that is carrying Councillor Tiawon Gonglo as the standard bearer who is vying for the presidency of Liberia. So he's expected to join us here, an acclaimed economist from Liberia who have worked here in the U.S. on Wall Street, probably retired back in the country, and now is helping Mr. Gonglo um, with his campaign, his bid for the presidency. Some of the things we want to talk about here tonight, as you and I know, some political parties have rejected the results of the housing and national census. They met with uh, members of the legislature rejecting the census. In addition, the CPP, which is the collaborating political parties, is asking the Supreme Court to put a halt to the voter registration process. They're claiming that they don't think that is making sense as of its start. Accordingly, the process started yesterday. I saw some people already showing the IDs on the voter registration IDs on Facebook. Now, will this action affect the conduct and outcome of the voter registration? We'd like to look at whether the Supreme Court going to be listening to the CPP. Could the elections be postponed with everything that is being going back and forth? And finally, if the elections are forced, with the result and considering all the irregularities, would the result be credible that we can hold on to? We understand the president is here in the U.S. We don't know the purpose of his visit. Um, I mean, in depth, even though it is said that he was invited to as one of the world leaders to come and join President Obama for his forum, former President Obama for his forum. So maybe here, while here, he may be meeting with other high power dignitaries here in the U.S. I'm sure there will be some degree of discussion around the elections and with the anticipation of hoping that it would be free and fair. Alfonso?
Yes, definitely. So as you say, hopefully Mr. Zeze joins us. I will keep trying to connect him. But as you said, a group of opposition political parties petitioned the national legislature, basically saying that the census was fraudulent. It doesn't represent the actual count, especially in some parts of the country where the population of those places grew exponentially. So they have questions about those areas, especially with lack of economic activity. Because as we all know, two key ways that populations grow, through birth and through migration. So people move to these places, and we know that people usually move due to economic activities that are attracting them jobs, good schools, etc. So with the increase in the number of people as per the population in places like Grand Crew, for example, that has parts of Grand Crew that don't have a lot of economic activity in other parts of the country, that raised some concerns, of course, in addition to accusations of corruption around the process. So the opposition political parties went to the national legislature trying to argued that because the legislature has to approve the census. So they're basically arguing with the legislature not to approve the census. And their argument is that the results of the census should not be used in the upcoming elections. Um, our guest was going to talk about these issues, so I hope he joins us. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Volcano, the CPP also went to the Supreme Court, petitioned the Supreme Court to stop the voter registration process. So yeah, we can get into all of those later on.
So, Moses, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that let's give our guest, a few minutes to come. While waiting our guest to come,
No,
let's
but this is
just
just the gist of what the
yeah.
conversation would be.
Okay.
I was
Mm-hmm.
going to go now to
Oh,
what's
okay.
trending in the country.
Yeah.
If just before you come in, I was going to say I did talk. I think I mentioned off the record that the current Chief Justice, and you guys maybe have seen the story, where she already beginning
Yeah.
to.
So Volcano, Mr. Zez is calling, so I'm going to answer, and then
Okay, I'll
I
put
will
you
start.
backstage and come back to you.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, right?
Hmm.
She begin to already start sounding out. Please don't come here if you don't have a case talking to the opposition because we'll throw it all out of here. Don't bring
Yeah.
no election case there where you don't have evidence. Moses, is it necessary at this point? What going on?
Well, look, Volcano, I would say the timing of the Chief Justice statement is absolutely wrong. I'm not a lawyer, but in the
And
legal
just for the
profession,
clarification, she made this statement at the opening of the
yeah,
hearing.
of the Supreme Court.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm saying the time she spoke, the timing, the statement she made is absolutely not right. I think her decision to make comment on whether, the court will hear a case that will emanate out of the elections coming October or not, I think that is just absolutely wrong. In the legal profession, I am told lawyers and judges will always say that courts don't go looking for cases. It is party litigants that go to court. When you feel that your rights have been violated, when you feel that you have a case to be heard, you go to court. So for the Chief Justice to come out and begin to sound that, oh well, this Supreme Court, if you don't have your acts together, we will not be prepared to listen to you. That's absolutely wrong. There's no need for that, except if the Supreme Court judge is telling us Liberians that she has already decided that individuals who will feel aggrieved as a result, whatever that may come out of the electoral process, they should not seek legal redress. I think that's a form of intimidation, and opposition politicians, I need to condemn this woman in the strongest term. It is too early, man. It is too early.
And quickly, I just like to say here that I went to see the eye doctor, so everything is kind of blurred on my end, and so you if you see me a little squinting and stuff like that, is because they told me it would take about 4 hours with
Okay.
regards to the chemical to put in my eyes for clarity. But anyhow, yes,
Yeah. So
do you want to add
Mr.
something?
Sorry, Mr. Zez is trying to connect.
Okay, yeah. Once he gets through, I
So
will
he's
see
trying to
him.
use the link to connect. If
Yeah.
Let me see
he's
him. Yeah.
having a little bit of challenges, but he's trying, and he's on the phone and trying. If it
Okay.
doesn't work with the link, is it
Then
possible
we'll
to
bring him in by phone.
by
Yeah.
phone? Okay,
Mhm.
Yeah.
all right, but he's trying anyway, so
Okay.
Yeah.
we
All
can
right.
continue. Yeah.
Yeah, so Moses, you were also saying something about who came out today to clarify the notion or the speculations going
The
around with respect
rumors.
to Mr.
Yeah.
Boyka's
Selecting a
potential pick.
yeah, potential pick. You know, the news has been out there in the past few days that Henry Costa, the political talk
Commentator.
show host, commentator, has been selected or will be selected as running mate to the former vice president. So Mr. Costa, today on his podcast, decided to come and set the record straight. And he did tell the world that yes, the news out there that he's being considered, it is true. He said he's one of few individuals whose name are very high on the list. But the concern he had is that he
Moses, pause. Just pause quickly.
sure,
Alfonso, is your phone still open?
Yes, he's doing that stuff while it's on.
no,
So, but let me mute
yeah,
myself.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
okay,
Good. All
yeah.
right. Go ahead.
All right. So as I was saying, Mr. Costa did say that he's one of few individuals whose names are high on the list of the former vice president for the selection of running mate. He says that he has not been selected, but if given the opportunity, he will accept.
Oh, but then
Oh yes.
so the man looking at Joel Howard Taylor job, man. Okay.
He said if given the opportunity he will accept. But however, he expressed some concern. He said he believes that there are people in the Unity Party and some individuals coming from the camp of Nima County Senator Jeremiah Cohn. He strongly believes that they are the one that throwing all this dirt at him in the public, trying to disqualify him. He has no national leadership experience. He's unfit for the job, and Henry says that I think he stands a better chance of bringing more votes to the former vice president as compared to some of the individual names that have been thrown out there already. And I don't know. I'm sure even this weekend when we assemble, the name Henry Costa, surfaced in our discussion. So I want to leave
So,
it to
well,
you
but
guys. What are
quickly,
your
quickly,
perspectives? Yeah.
the guest is in the back, still getting set. But quickly,
Okay.
let's be practically radical here. Henry Costa has said that he never wanted to be appointed to any position. He would prefer to go in the Senate, where he is not answerable to the presidency, where he's not
Mm-hmm.
answerable to the executive branch. So what
Mm-hmm.
changing now? Because if you go as vice president, even though it's an elected position, but you're not being elected because you're Henry Costa, it is the person who's scaring you because you attached to the person, and you still gonna have a boss in the presidency. So, and I've heard him say that many times. So why is he considering? In fact, I mean, I'm
Well,
just trying to be clear here and honest about it.
yeah, that's
Because
a very good concern. The
so what I
position of
wanted to say, gentlemen, is because our guest is coming in from Liberia, where connection problems are difficult, and
Yeah, but let's just wrap this. Let's just wrap this up quick, and then we'll go
okay,
to him.
yeah. So
Yeah,
what I was saying is that I think he's coming from the standpoint that he doesn't want to work at the will and pleasure of the president.
but it will be.
Where no, when you are vice president, there's a tenure. There's a tenure. If the president is elected for 2 years, hypothetically, you own that tenure for you know for for 2 years. And the only time you run the risk of not being considered if you and the president are loggerhead and the president is or prior to going for re-election, the president may say, "Hey, I don't think we can do this together anymore." You know?
So right now the guest is offline again. So again, probably
Yeah.
uh maybe he's still getting connected. So let's just let it
okay,
be. Let's just flow with the conversation. Once
Mhm.
I see him settle, I will bring him in.
Yeah.
You
You are
know,
in charge. Go
I
ahead.
can see everything. So
Yeah.
I
okay.
know when he's still juggling, I can see that. But anyhow, yeah. So again, what will you make up if this were to happen? I mean,
So. Mhm.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if I should even be speaking to Unity Party
Yeah.
internal politics or Brazilian
I
internal
mean, we
politics.
just
But
discussing the
I
vice
think
presidency.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think part of the reason why we're having all of these conversations and this thing is even coming up is because the vice president, former vice president, has been dragging his feet in terms of a vice presidential pick. Um, Looking at what happened in the last 2017 elections when he waited until almost the eve of election to announce, which kind of sent a wrong message of preparation, and of course the person is selected. I think I thought that would have been a lesson, that by now a team would have been put together, and they would have started work already, instead of all of these speculations. About these speculations do happen, everywhere around vice presidential picks. There's no problem with that. But I think with 7 months, 6.5 months to election, in a country like Liberia, I don't think we should be having this conversation still.
all right. So that's for you. Again, our guest is still having connection problem. He's not back in the studio. He came momentarily,
Okay.
and then he's out again. But let's
Let
start
me
with
ask him if he wants to just
But
do the
look,
phone stuff.
okay.
uh,
All right,
uh,
let's do
y-
the phone thing quickly. I'll put you back there.
Yeah.
Get
mhm,
the conversation and and I'll come back to you.
okay. So yeah, Volcano. This is what I wanted to say. Uh, I what I have seen in recent times, the position of a vice president is always, a consideration that is made by whoever the presidential candidate is. And in recent times, I have seen people literally campaigning to win the heart of Omen Joseph Boakai. I think that's absolutely wrong. If you think you have the capabilities, you think you have the numbers, leave that up to the individual, or leave that up to the candidate to decide whether Volcano is the president or Moses Sandy is the president I want to go with. But I have seen a lot of people, literally doing things to insinuate that they have interest in the vice presidency.
But Moses, if
Yes,
things are not being said, I don't think people are going to talk about it. Who would have dreamed that Henry Costa would be considered vice president of Liberia? But that's the situation now. If you look at the configuration of our country,
hmm,
okay, not to say Henry doesn't have, probably somehow what it takes, uh, but the absolute truth is, if you look at the people who are in leadership today, then it makes it compelling that everyone feels, they have a chance.
of course,
And
entitled.
and no matter how that chance is provided, they'll take advantage of it. Uh, but are we ready for this? Are we ready? You know, um, we're not saying that the young generation don't have a part to play, but look around, Mr. Weah and the young people he professed to have brought on board. What are they really doing for the country? Where's the country at? So it just boils down to the heart and what you bring to the table. Um, some folks are saying that if JMB pick Costa or picks Costa, they're done with Liberia. It's totally done. That's the perspective, right? There are others who
Yeah,
say, according to the young people, say, "Oh yeah, Costa would be in our interest. Costa would be this. Costa would be that." But the truth there is, our country may not be ready for this kind of configuration. And some of the
well,
things we talked about,
mhm.
Joseph Barker is an aged man. He's not very healthy per se. If anything happens, his vice president ascends the presidency. Is that what you want? Is that
well,
what you perceive? Would
well.
that
Look,
take the country forward? Something were to happen? And we're talking here. This is a serious matter. You and I talk about it all the time, Moses.
we
This
do.
elections makes or breaks our country.
Yeah,
And so if we go in it with a flimsy mindset, with a lackadaisical attitude, not calculative, not looking for the best option for our country, then it all going to be making more people rich, because that's what it is. Everybody's running into government in Liberia because that's where they get rich overnight. And we must say the truth. Our country needs to be rescued, and rescued with the best collaboration, with the best, Liberians who will really come to work and to move the country forward.
I mean, I absolutely agree that we need political maturity. We need individuals who have a good understanding of what it takes to run a country.
Very, very quickly,
But
Moses. Volcano,
yeah,
send me the link. Let me email it to him again. Text it to me.
all right.
Okay.
So as I was saying, Volcano, um, I was saying that
Alfonso, can you go to your phone from your email from your phone, because I may not have access to it. I can't get into. I'm already
okay,
in the studio live, so
So
okay,
send it to me through
he
a
won't be
all right.
able to do
a
that.
Let me
n
see.
y e n u h at CIRSEIU.org.
The
It
same link you use, that's what he asking you to send to the
is
gentleman.
the same link.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the same link. That's
So
the
you can
stupid
go
link.
out,
Oh,
send it to you, and come back.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Let me do
Yeah.
that.
Hmm. Yeah. So sorry about that. Guys, tonight we're having a little bit of a technical glitch here. But coming back to the vice presidency, right? And let's look at this objectively. A Henry Costa comparatively is 100% better than George Weah.
You come and get in trouble, yo.
I mean, it's the truth of the matter.
So,
And
okay, say
Henry,
say
yeah.
I'm not speaking for the issues, bro. I'm speaking for myself.
No, I'm speaking as an individual.
Okay,
I'm
for
speaking
yourself.
as a I'm speaking as a journalist. I'm
Okay.
speaking as someone who follows consistently the happenings in Liberia. When it comes to leadership, the ability to mobilize, the ability to engage, the ability to
But
communicate.
if we come back to the drawing board, the ability to mobilize and all of that does not mean it's leadership.
No, it does.
No, but it doesn't mean it's leadership. Somebody can
No,
be flamboyant, charismatic, and lead people and jail people and bring people, but they don't know how to lead.
well, if this man never had the ability to lead, the last uh populous uprising in
But I
Monrovia
don't
or
mean nothing. That don't
Liberia,
mean you
no,
can
it
move.
does. No,
That don't mean you can move
but
the country,
no,
Moses.
but no. Let me drive my point.
Okay,
The point I'm trying to
but
drive here is
you're talking to a student of leadership, so I want you to really put
I
an
do
equilibrium
understand
here.
that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
being charismatic and being able to move a crowd and bring a crowd does not mean you can take the crowd further. That's all I want to say.
Well, as a student of administration as well, I do understand that in order to accomplish a goal or to get things done, first you must be able to engage and mobilize people. You say, "Hey, this is my idea." You need to mobilize people. So the June 6th protest, you guys, a few of them sat together, they conceived the idea. They said our country is going down the drain. They were able to mobilize people and they brought people, and that really shook the administration. That's the point
Okay,
I'm
all right.
making.
So the guest is here
So
now.
yeah.
Let's just see.
So to wrap it quickly, I'm saying that Henry Costa, let me reiterate again, in terms of leadership, education, ability to communicate, ability to engage, to propagate messages is 100% better than George Weah. George Weah is not a leader.
And say I'm speaking
He's
for
not a
myself again.
communicator. But what I'm saying, I'm speaking
Okay.
as Moses Sandy, a
All right.
journalist.
Let me move
George
to
Weah
to
is
the
not a
guest. The guest is here.
communicator. Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Wow. Your lighting is
Oh,
very,
he's
very
terrible.
poor,
He's very, very
Mr.
terrible.
Zize. Is there any way you can
Terrible.
increase the
Yeah.
lighting somehow?
Is he outdoor?
I'm trying
No,
to do that.
I
I'm trying to readjust the computer.
Are you outdoor, sir?
what's this? He's not outdoor. It's just
Okay.
you see that one light bulb that
Yeah. Oh,
The Liberian light is not like our light here. A different kind of light they got in Liberia.
Maybe for everything let him know whatever country is it.
Oh, and I hold on
Most
whatever
that we can
country.
talk about later when the guest leaves, we can
Yeah,
really talk about your
no,
position on Costa.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I'm interested in that conversation.
We can come back
We
to
yeah.
that.
see you.
Uh,
It's not bright enough, but if that's the
mhm.
best you can
But
do,
it will not be the best we
No,
can do
it's
because
not good
it's
for
like
the
he's already
broadcast.
frozen. I think he should come back by
Let
phone.
it come through audio. You know.
Because it happened
Yeah,
with
let it come
the
through audio.
information minister, and when he came
Yeah,
through audio, the conversation was great. I mean,
yeah.
everybody could hear
You
him
can call in from WhatsApp and then we just take it from there.
because it's freezing.
it's freezing.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't want to go through this back and forth, coming out and going in, coming out and going in. So I think we should do we
Yeah,
should
the
do
audio.
the audio. Trust me on it. Let's
Yeah.
do the audio. Call him and tell him let's do the audio. Okay.
All right. All right. I'm
All right.
doing
I'll
it.
put you backstage again. Oh, and by the way, Alfonso,
Yes, sir.
I would need his number to call him because I got to feed him through the
Okay,
Yeah.
conversation.
but just
All
give
right.
it to
So
this man.
let me give
But
it.
no, let him tell him first.
Oh,
No,
okay.
what you
No,
do?
Moses, let him tell him first that he will be doing by audio. Then at
Oh,
that point, he can send me the information.
okay.
He's still here, but it's dark. You see, it
No,
keeps
he
freezing.
can't come through it.
Yeah.
So just call in and let him know.
All right. So I mean, somebody's saying here. Let me see what this guy is saying here. He says, Mr. Shelton, the issues that the UP folks acted as though they cannot be trusted by taking a back seat, while Mr. Costa became the mouthpiece of Mr. Boaga in the UP. Over the last 2 years or so, Mr. Costa has been the loudest voice for the UP and Mr. Boaga. As the result, Mr. Boaga seems to be more comfortable with Mr. Costa than the majority of the UP partisans.
Absolutely.
So Joseph Conto is thinking that way.
Yeah.
You know,
And let me make this disclaimer. I'm not campaigning for Henry Costa. I am just doing a critical analysis, doing a comparison, because when we talk about leadership, people who are saying that Henry Costa is not prepared, Henry Costa is more prepared to be vice president, to be president of Liberia, than the current man that we have as president. George Weah does not understand governance. Henry Costa does.
but what is the track record for you to say that, Moses? I'm
What is
just
George
concerned
Weah's
here
track record?
because Weah has been there for 5 years. Weah
No,
can
but
point to certain
no,
things
but
he's done. I'm just trying to be careful here. When you equate leadership to charismatic, rowing of the crowd, good
yeah.
conversation and stuff like that. When you sit in that seat, when you take that helm of leadership,
Mhm.
it is far beyond the ordinary.
I
And
know.
that's when you come to realize, oh, wait on the thing that people are talking about here. So that every day you can't just talk because you can talk, so we must run behind you too.
It
And
is.
then
It
because you
is.
bubble, so we must just sit down and be surprised. So again, even Boaga will struggle with Liberia. I can say it here emphatically.
And a leader. I
Yeah,
mean, there's
because the
no
country
leadership
is
that you go
rotten,
into
the country is
everything but
broken down.
yeah.
It is
Volcano.
seriously broken down.
We need to understand that for every new job you take on, that job comes with responsibility. It comes with challenges. You're going to have some challenges when you take it initially, or when you take on the job initially. But if you are looking for candidates, then you select someone who has the capability to do the job. And I'm saying to you, if I were to choose between George Weah and Henry Costa, I would choose Henry Costa because Henry Costa is more of a leader than George Manuel Weah.
Describe the leadership of Henry Costa, and what can you account for when the CPP is already in shambles?
You want me to discuss
Mhm,
his leadership?
mhm.
Okay, when we talk about leadership, we talk about someone who takes initiative. Henry Costa does. He takes initiative. Henry Costa is responsible. He doesn't shy away from his tasks as compared to Mr. Weah. Henry Costa knows what he wants to accomplish as a leader, someone who has a vision. That's one of the qualities of leadership. You must have a vision, and you must be able to execute it, bring to fruition your vision. Henry Costa has that. George Weah does not.
But I think the point here I'm trying to drive is this is subjective for Moses Sandy. This is
Yeah,
not this is not
okay.
generalistic on the purview of leader.
No,
Because
no.
when we're talking leader,
Mhm,
and leader here,
mhm.
it's far more than just
What are the
again.
okay?
And
Let
the
me
other
ask you,
point I wanted to make
Alfonso.
to
Let
add
Yeah,
to
me,
what you're saying, Volcano.
Alfonso,
yeah.
Yeah.
quickly,
No,
please.
Alfonso is
Let
there.
me. Okay,
No,
let
no,
me
no.
just ask Volcano this
No,
question.
let him come in. Let him come in.
Okay, go ahead.
Because you
Is
keep
first of
talking
all,
here.
I think Moses is doing the wrong thing by setting George Weah as the yardstick for leadership in Liberia.
No, I'm not.
Yes, that let me finish. You're saying Costa is better than Weah, as if Weah is the zenith, is the height that we must reach. And so anybody who's better than Weah, it will be a great leader. I think that's a flaw
I
analysis.
like that too. Yeah.
That the
Okay,
basis is flawed, first of all.
okay.
And
But
that's why I
can I
think Volcano is
clarify?
pushing you to
Hmm.
say what qualifies Costa. Not
And I have
that he's
given them.
better than George Weah, not that he organized a rally, not that people are disenchanted, they're upset, they're hungry, the angry. And if you set up a rally, they will come. If I went to Monrovia today and said I was coming to start a rally because at LU campus, the students will come. They even went to Yaka Coluba rally on campus. Does that now qualify him as well? I
Okay.
think the problem we have in Liberia is more than George Weah. What we need to do is we shouldn't replace George Weah with just anybody who would think is slightly qualified than George Weah.
That's
The
the point.
country needs better than that.
I like that statement that someone who is slightly better than. So then the three of us now are in agreement that Henry Costa is better than George Weah. And I was just
Weah should
using
not be the
listen,
last
Alfonso,
step.
Alfonso.
No, I
Let me
wouldn't say
no.
I wouldn't say
Let me
that.
let
I
me
wouldn't
let me
say
drive
that.
my point. The point
Because
I'm trying to drive here. Yeah,
both of
yeah,
them,
guys.
both of them.
Let me
Tell
complete
me,
my
you
thoughts.
okay?
No,
Finish your thought.
let me complete.
Finish your thought.
Okay, what I was saying is that if George Weah could become president of Liberia for the past more than 5 years, if Liberians went to the poll and voted this man in numbers, what make you think that he's more better as compared to Henry Costa? That's the question. I'm not saying that we should use George Weah as a yardstick. I'm saying that if Liberians went and voted for George Weah in the numbers, who lacks all leadership qualities, they voted for him. Then what make you think that someone like Henry Costa, who has the ability to rationalize, who has ability to figure out where Liberia can go in the next 2 or 3 years? And let me say this, I am not campaigning for Mr. Henry Costa. I am just saying to you that if you were to compare the two individuals, you selected someone who has no clue in terms of leadership. He is completely disengaged. He does not even know what is happening in his own country. And you have an individual who knows what is happening in Liberia of it, even though he doesn't reside there. He has a vision. He can articulate his vision. He's able to engage people. Then what's the problem? That's what
But
I'm saying.
but the problem here is that it doesn't make him prepared for the presidency. It doesn't. The presidency is a whole nother animal.
Mhm.
It's a whole nother place to be.
Okay.
And especially in a society like in the case of Liberia, that is completely in shambles. That the institutions, the way of life, everything that we've worked for over our independence, okay,
Mhm.
it's gone. It's wiped away. So you would rather prefer to settle for Henry Costa as president, or will you be preferring someone who is way more than Henry Costa? I think that's the point that Alfonso is saying here.
And who is that
So,
person?
oh, we're going to look, we're going to find. I'm
And-
saying that
You have less
Henry
than 7
Costa is not
months.
prepared to be president of Liberia. He is not prepared.
And
He hasn't
Moses, do
shown
you
me
do you
anything that makes him
do you
prepared.
think that? Thank you for getting. And Moses, do you
He's
believe that
shown me
those
nothing.
people do not
And let me
exist in
make this
Liberia?
point.
No,
Costa
I'm
may
not
be
saying
listening
that.
tonight,
Okay.
and this is where I'm going to test his ability to speak to me tomorrow.
Okay.
Look at the preparation of Costa. What makes it different from Weah? Costa just came to the States here a few years ago to get a bachelor's and quickly did a master's degree. So it tells me that he had a plan because he knew education would be the impediment. And I'm being practically radical, honestly, here tonight.
Mhm.
Weah did the same because it was the premise for which the people kept jumping over him. The boy he has no education. He needs to get formal education. So he went and got his formal education, right? Because that was the conduit through which the people can say, okay, now he has a degree. So I'm just saying to you that there isn't a far difference between the two. And Costa has not shown any track record of leading anything.
No,
Except
he
yes,
has.
he can talk, except yes, he can mobilize. But what has he led? What public service position he's held?
Okay, so
What private sector position he's held? What is
let
the
me
track record?
let
Both of
me
them are on the same pedigree, so I don't
they're
know how you
not.
can. Okay, Moses,
The
but
distinction
this
is
is a valid
huge.
conversation.
Moses,
Yeah.
Costa, Costa gathered a people to protest in Monrovia.
Mhm.
George Weah gathered thousands, if not millions, of people to vote for him. It's a
Mhm.
There you go.
popularity game. People were
Mhm.
responding to their situations. That
Mhm.
has nothing to do with leadership qualities. There are people who can mobilize people, get people run after them. That doesn't mean that when they get in a position that they will actually understand the critical issues and implement them.
Eh,
Judge, we did that. If you want to,
talk about
bring
pulling crowd.
the
Mhm.
argument of pulling crowd, Judge, we have put more
He didn't
crowd
Yeah.
pull
than
crowd
any
compared to
Costa
Yeah.
George
will
Bush.
ever pull in his lifetime, I believe.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
looking here
I'm not
about
talking about crowd pulling
ability
here and
and
people who can talk.
qualification.
Like
Yeah.
that
And
what we
it's
want taking the
unfortunate
case
that,
against it. People who
I
can
mean,
talk
we
No.
don't
because
want
we
to
are
throw
doesn't
our
talk.
country to
No.
something else because we're in a hole. So anybody who throws up a rope, we just grab it. We have
I
to
think
be
it
careful.
is condescending,
Yeah,
Alfonso. I think it is condescending
it's
to
intended
refer.
to be so.
Yeah, but Alfonso, I think it would be condescending to Henry Costa to say
Mhm.
anybody. Henry Costa is not anybody. And let me say that clearly. I am not running a campaign for Henry Costa.
It sounds
I'm
like it.
just no, I'm not. I want you guys to understand this. What I'm saying here, I am
But
speaking objectively.
is
I
this
am
what we're
looking at two
reducing? Is this
individuals.
what we're reducing our country to
We're
now?
not
That Henry
looking at two
Costa to be
individuals,
No,
president?
Moses. This is not a
Is that
competition
for
between
real?
Georgia and Henry
no,
Costa, first of
you
all.
are
This is
saying
the people
you
of Liberia wanting a vice president of who could become president tomorrow.
no, it's
It's
not
not a comparison between Henry Costa and Georgia. That's why I think you're missing
is
the point.
Moses,
is
let me make sure I can formally get the guess if you can hear
yeah,
me.
not get a guess.
Uh,
I think I'll not bring in
Moses,
audio
hold on.
because it's
Mr.
blurred.
Zizek,
Yeah.
can you hear me? He looks frozen. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
completely blurred.
we
I
need to
thought we
just
were
Then
doing
come to audio.
let's
the
do this
audio.
audio thing, please.
You
Yeah.
have the number and the stuff. Volcano,
Okay,
I
let me
texted it
look
to you.
there. But is
Yeah.
he aware that if I would,
He's where he's been waiting
Yeah.
for
it's
your
an
call.
American number? You said?
Yes,
Okay.
you didn't call. That's why the man came in on the video.
Okay, no, but you didn't signal me. All right. Okay, I'll call him.
All right.
Yeah, but I think you just made it possible for us to have this conversation in depth, and you better come here prepared because it's gonna be fire here.
Where your campaign
Yeah.
slogan and T-shirt.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Zeze.
Yes.
Good evening. This is the issues room. I believe that the best way to go with this conversation tonight would be through audio. You've made the effort, and we understand the limitations when it comes to, connectivity issues in the country. And so I think we should just go through with, you know, audio.
I agree. Thank you very much.
Okay. And thank you too for staying up this late to be with us. And we'd like to thank you for accepting our invitation to be here tonight. I believe you saw the flyer, you saw some of the key pointers on the flyer, and that's what we'll be talking about tonight. We'll not keep you long. We'll try to, because we're going so far, we'll try to keep you at least for 30 minutes or so. Would that be good enough?
I'm here to stay. I'm here
Okay,
to
okay
talk.
then.
Good.
All right. Then
Let's
then
go.
I like the staying spirit. Um, so welcome. This is your first time in the issues room. We appreciate it. Hopefully, at some point you'll come back when it's better. But tonight, we want to talk about what is trending in the country with regards to you being chairman of the uh, LPP. But let's just talk about you a little bit, so our audience know who is Mr. J. Yankwe Zeze. Uh, Give us a little probably background about you and how you came to be the chairperson first for the Liberian People's Party that is carrying Councilor Tiawan Gonglo.
Good evening to the listeners, and I say thank you to the program organizers for inviting me to this important issue to the important issues. My name is J. Yankwe Zeze. I'm from Feasible Town, Zaza District. Migrated to Monrovia in the 60s when the Tubman High then graduated from the University of Liberia, worked under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the powerful lady of Liberia, or maybe Africa, in 1978-79, then went to commerce, and then later on went to NIC, and then later on the Bureau of Reacquisition. In July of 1982, I retired and then came to the U.S. to get my master's degree. Later on, I got my CPA, worked at the New York City Finance Department from 1984 to 2016. I retired. Politically, I was involved in the activities at Tottenham High, and of course, went to the University of Liberia, became a member of SOUP. I was the president for the Varsity Sports Association in 1976. 1977, I was the student representative to the University Council, of course, and then came to be involved in the election, or at least the attempt to elect the late Dr. Amos Sawyer, may his soul rest in peace, in 1979, of course, participated in the demonstration, at least to raise the consciousness of the Liberian people that we should not allow government to dictate prices when the prices are exorbitant. That was, of course, the 1979 Rest Trial, of course, which ended in the killing of innocent people. So politically moved to the USA, got involved in the activities of ULA, the umbrella institution of organizations of Liberians in the United States. At one time became vice president of ULA under Yancio when he was president, and of course left and then became chairman of the Liberian People's Party in the USA, and then I moved on to be an advocate of a group of Liberians living in Newark, New Jersey. We then called the Liberian Investment Group, participated in the different activities. So in terms of history of my political life, you have it.
Thank you. Thank you. Alfonso, you want to start off?
Yeah. So, Processor, thanks. I mean, Liberia is far away. Connection problems are difficult. It's after 12, I guess, but you were able to join us. That simply is a demonstration of your commitment to the cause. I want to ask real quickly. This time is.
Can you hear him, Mr. Zeze?
I did not hear him. So
Wow.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
want to ask.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, this will make it difficult.
Let me try something for Volcano, whether he can hear me too.
No, he won't hear you. The reason I believe is because you guys are not using consoles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know. He's coming through very clearly. But go ahead. I will reiterate the question quick. Just
Okay.
summarize it.
Yeah. Go
All right.
ahead, Volcano.
So,
Go ahead, Alfonso.
So I was going to quickly ask a question. So, a group of political parties in the country are rejecting the recently concluded national census, and are arguing that the census results should not be considered and or included in the upcoming elections. Can you speak to that? Why should the results of the census not be included in the upcoming elections? And wouldn't that disenfranchise people who became of voting age from the last election period?
So, Mr. Zeze, sorry, you're not hearing him, but the question here is that a group of political parties came together and said that they don't agree with the outcome or the result of the just held national housing and census result that came out. His concern is that would it be a disenfranchise to those who have become eligible to vote and were counted in the census, because the folks are saying don't use this census outcome or result for the upcoming elections. If that happens, what's your take on it?
Well, I mean, go back to the resolution that the opposition parties signed, had a press conference submitted to our international partners, and really key issues are there. Article 39 of our Constitution states that we should have elections, or no, we should have national census. But you saw that since this government came to power from 2018, government was aware that they had to carry out the process of conducting a census. The delay, Article 80 states that the results shall be used by the legislature to establish population threshold and also requires NEC to reappropriate constituencies and electoral boundaries. That's Article 80 of our Constitution. But so we disagree with the census because if you go through the process, you see that from day one, there were counter claims and, of course, claims against the individuals that were involved in corruption. From the get-go, the Liberian Institute for Geoinformation Services, LIGIS, was reported to be having problems within the administration. There are reports that people that were trained to be employed were not used. Rather, they hired different people because of connections. All of that, we noted it. We called the attention of the international community, specifically ECOWAS coordinator. I know I was in one of the meetings when a preliminary census, not preliminary, but at least midway reports were given to us. And we questioned how was it possible that success were being made in the Southeast when in fact it is difficult because of the road conditions to reach the Southeast, whereas where it was easy in terms of reaching to those counties like Lofa or even Bomi or even Mangibi, reports by the census individuals, reports were not encouraging. The individuals representing LIGIS and, of course, ECOWAS people were impressed, stated that in the Southeast, the employees were enthusiastic. The census officers were easily monitoring their employees, so there were better output and there were better performance. Whereas in places like Bong, Lofa, and maybe Kitmon, the census employees were in disagreement, they were on strike. So the reports from those areas were not encouraging, and and they gave us those explanations. We also raised the issue: how was it possible to do a census when, in fact, most of the citizens in the rural towns were normally involved in their farm work, and most of them were not in town? How they explained to us that the process was successful, and we didn't have any evidence besides what they had on the computer that was showing through the screen that, in fact, the census was performing and they were doing very well. We raised the issues. We should have published a statement then, but again, it didn't go well because we didn't publish a statement. That's our fault. But from day one, we noticed that the census wasn't going well. So you see the result. How was it possible, for example, for Grand Crew to be increased from 97,000 to 107,000, almost like a double the number? You can increase the population through migration. You can increase the population through birth rate. But we didn't see any indication historically or in terms of other economic activities to suggest that, yes, the population has doubled. Because for population to double, you need homes, you need clinics, you need schools. You can't say the same old schools that exist will be the same school that will at least provide services to the number of people that have been increased by 100% or 90%. That's unrealistic. If people at least migrate from Newtown, Claratown to go back to Grand Crew, that's why the population increased. It is difficult to agree to that analogy because it's not possible to encourage people who are living in better communities to abandon the communities and go back to rural towns. One of the reasons of migrations is economic necessity. So you can't say that you have better economic environment in Grand Crew than the economic environment you have in Claratown, Nuku Town, or Looking Town.
But I heard that the
So,
people are digging diamond and gold in the southeastern part of the country.
well,
Would that be a reason why people want to throng in there?
well, we know very well that gold and diamond are being operated on, but who are the people who are doing it? Are they Liberians or mainly foreigners? We'll be hearing that in fact we have a lot of foreign citizens who are coming from our neighboring countries to participate in the gold and diamond business, not necessarily Liberians. In fact, there are many statements out there. People are complaining to their lawmakers that they're not benefiting from the natural resources because operations that are taking place are mainly handled by people who are not, in fact, residents of the area. So, too, you don't need to increase population with the new technology that people have using nowadays versus the old days in the 70s. So, yes, gold diamond digging are taking place, but I don't think that alone can explain the increase in the population. Even if there were increase in population, don't you think we have more homes because you got more people? That's what it is. It's not that you don't have jobs, but if you have jobs, you should have new homes. You
So,
should
so
have
in a
new
nutshell,
activities.
you guys don't believe that this outcome of the census is credible enough to be sustained.
As a reasonable person, we're not talking about people who are supporting the CDC government or people who want the census to be used because they already have a way of going. But how can you even use the census? Because if you go back to ECWA Protocol, Article 2, it states that no substantial modification shall be made to the electoral laws in the last 6 months before election. Before election. When is our election? October. When will the final result of the census will be given to the Liberian people? It will be around July. When will the legislature, you know, vote on it, pass a threshold? When will they do that? Before even the National Election Commission can think about establishing boundaries or at least giving us the number of constituents in the different electoral districts. That's what we're talking about. It's not we are saying it. We are telling there are laws that prohibit the government from moving forward. They
Okay.
are also saying, you remember in the petition to determine the constitutionality of joint resolution in 2018, it was stated by the court that at no time the election commission and the legislature can change the law of the election set by the constitution. At no time. They don't have the power.
Okay. Let me
So
hear
we are
from
not just
Moses.
eh?
Let me hear from Moses quick, and then I'll relay that question to you. Moses, just be as brief.
Yeah, I know it's difficult communicating with him, but I asked him for me, is the LPP a part of the CPP? Because it is the CPP that took the legal action against the NEC that, hey, it is illegal to initiate the voter registration process, which violates Article 80 uh, C of the Liberian Constitution. Is the LPP part
Mr.
of the
Zizé,
CPP?
is the LPP part of the CPP, the collaborating political parties? Because the CPP is the one that uh, met with the National Elections Commission through the Supreme Court to put a halt on the voter registration as per Article 80C within the
Liberian
elections
No,
law.
Constitution.
Yeah. So
the Liberian
yeah. So is the LPP a part of the CPP? Are you together
no,
with them?
no. We cannot violate the laws of Liberia. I think if you can remember, the Supreme Court has asked the National Election Commission to go back and visit the convention where they said Yombi Kanga Lawrence is still the political leader that the other faction of Liberty Party is not accepting. So in essence, legally, constitutionally, there's no CPP. And that's one of the reasons why when we tried to organize a press conference on December 21st, 2022, and CPP was putting out what they call a rally, we said we could not join CPP on one ground that they are in an organization that is unconstitutional, that is illegal, so we cannot have an alliance with them. We are not part of them. In fact, our our resolution that we aired and circulated quite different from what CPP is doing. CPP, in my understanding, is clearly stating that the census are the result of the census okay, and that's why they are insisting that the NEC should perform a function which, in fact, is not the requirement or is not the authority of the government for NEC to determine threshold. It's not the National Election Commission that does that. It is the legislature. So you cannot sue the NEC for functions that they are not constitutionally authorized to carry out. It is the legislature that establishes a threshold. The NEC can only establish boundaries when the legislature has already established a threshold. That has not been done. So how can you sue NEC? You know, and two, we say the ECOWAS protocol is stating that you cannot change the electoral laws within 6 months to election. So why we allow? So I think if TPP wants to do a better job, they should now begin to see. Let's look at the voter registration that's taking place, and let's see the things that are not at least going to be helpful for the kind of transparent results we want October 10, 2023.
But is the LPP then
Yeah.
by itself considering what the CPP has done, even though constitutionally you say that they're not in the position to do that, but do you think that is a good idea that the voter registration be put on hold because of the preceding discussions you've just had with us regarding the
The
flaw census
violation of the Constitution.
and the census is not something that you guys take serious?
Well, look, for us in the Liberian People's Party, if you look our history in 1984, when the party was banned, we have other political parties. In 2006, we were not actively involved. We have to elect Ellen Johnson Leaf. So we're not insisting to say we have to be in the presidency before Liberia can move forward. What we have said, let's do the right thing. From day one, we came up with an article that the biometric system was not going to work. We have an article that was published with detail why. One, the company now that is conducting this biometric system itself is questionable. And even the NEC, members of the NEC, specifically the commissioner, she herself argued that the company was not capable because it didn't have the required asset. It has not published its financial statements. But we've been forced to accept this particular company to conduct the registration, because if we don't do that, then we're going to have a constitutional crisis. If we say, for example, that the biometric system or the voter registration should be cut off, what are we saying?
So are you saying that the LPP then is not supporting this idea? You want the process to go on? Is that what you're saying? Just before Alphonso comes in?
You know, in life is dynamic. Sometimes you want certain things, but if it doesn't work out, what you have to do is to see how you can go along, but at least minimize the risk. Because either you say you're going to have a constitutional crisis, or you go ahead and do what is at best and see how you can minimize a constitutional crisis and at least get some results to move the country forward. Because if you do this, all you're talking about, you're going to have an interim government. In forming an interim government, from what we have learned, only those who have the money will determine who will be members or who will be actors of the interim government. Do we want that? LPP doesn't want that at all. We think we should have a free and fair election. And this is what we're saying. Let's make sure that the biometric system at least can begin to or at least we can guide and you see monitor them to make sure we can minimize the fraud, the mistakes that will occur, and then we can see how best we can have that and see how we can use the old system we used before and go ahead with the election October 10th. Because
Which
other than
means
that, you're gonna have a
which
constitutional
means
crisis.
you nullifying the census and staying with the current districts you have, because this new
Exactly,
census you have
exactly.
given you more districts since the population increased, right?
Right.
Okay, all right. If you just joining us, we'd like to welcome you here to our 138th broadcast. This is the Issues Room. We're coming your way live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Alfonso Yeno, Moses Sandy, myself, Volcano Shelton. The conversation is good tonight. Our guest here is Mr. J. Yankwe Zize. He is the current chairman of the Liberia's People Party, with the standard bearer being Mr. or Councillor Tewan Gonglo. We're discussing issues surrounding the census and also the voter registration. This evening, he's been having some difficulties getting to us live, so we're using audio for the most part. Hopefully, he will come back again at some point during the course of the months going toward the elections. Alfonso?
Yeah, thank you, Volcano. So my question, real quickly, to Mr. Zeze is that the LPP and the other opposition political parties are rejecting the census and are arguing that the census should not be included. Results of the census should not form part of the electoral process. But voter registration is ongoing, and so people who are registering might fall within the group that was captured by the census. So kids, young people who were younger when the last election were held are now being counted within the census and can go and register to participate in the election, even though his party and others are saying they shouldn't be included. But in a way, they're being included because they're registering to vote now. What else are they going to do to stop that inclusion of the census results, if any?
Mr. Zize, from Alfonso Yeno, the question here is: even though your party, and any other political party outside of the CPP, who looking at things from your perspective regarding not accepting the result of the census, however, some of those young people who have grown up to be registered voters who form part of this census, the current census, now feel that they can go and get a voter registration cards, and they're doing that. However, you saying that let's not use this new census, let's look at the old one since we didn't do it right, and go through our elections. Hopefully, we can do the recount or a new census later on. How do you reconcile that? Because you don't want to ostracize these people who looked and waited for this a moment in their lives to make a change in the country, and they're already registering. What will you do with about that?
But we know it is wrong to deny people their constitutional rights. We are aware of that. But that's what Liberia is. We're being denying rights. We're being preventing. We're being delaying. Just a delay is just a deny. What do we do as Liberians when we really understood from day one that this government was going to carry out to the crisis what we are in today? What do? We sat down, we said nothing. We deny, all of us, it's not just the political parties that are saying we should not use the census. We knew this was going to come, but it was just going to come to reality in terms of not doing the right job. We saw from day one that the poor were eating the money, not hiring the right people, and of course the census was not going to be conducted in a way that people can accept the results. Are we saying we should accept now you're going to have how many representatives in Grand Crew, for example, if you accept the census? If you're going to use the 20,000 as a threshold, you're going to have 5 representatives or 5 electoral districts. Is that what you want?
But how do you reconcile? You just said here that let's go with the
Yeah.
voter registration. Let's accept it. Let's continue to register the people. The places where we take, we got to move forward. Then you say, no, let us not use this census result. But there are people now who are part of this census result who feel that, listen, I'm going to register and I'm going to vote. There, so what's the actual
I
stance here?
understand. I'm just saying to you, they're gonna be denied the vote. That's the price we pay when we do not do the right thing.
Okay, okay.
That's the price we pay.
All right. So let's hear from Moses.
Look, from hearing Honorable Zizi, look, the whole thing seems real confusing because at one point he's saying that let us move forward because we do not want constitutional crisis. Then he comes back, he said, well, we don't accept the census report. uh where are we? Do we tell the NECC put a halt to the process because this violates Article 80C of the Constitution, which requires that constituencies be constituted and that the census report be used, for the demarcation of districts,
So,
you
so
know.
Mr.
So
Zize,
where are we?
Moses say, where are we? And the we mean you, myself, and the Liberian people. When on the one hand, we don't want this census result that is
Yeah.
supposed to be utilized to create constituencies as per what the Constitution calls for in Article 80C. Then on the other hand, because we didn't do it right, so we have to swallow the bitter pill and go forward.
Yeah.
Um, do you want to just take a stance, or you want to be moderate and say, okay, then after everything, because the Supreme Court already warned some of y'all, they say you might not go there with no case if you ain't got a case. Hey, you heard the Chief Justice. So you want to do it right now, or you want to
Yeah, or you
play
look the
around
other
with it,
way.
and then when the election results come, what Mr. We are Wednesday, he said, we said all these things and y'all did nothing about it. So what is the LPP stance?
Yeah.
But we just told you we put a resolution clearly stating what we believe and what we should do. We clearly stated that, and we read it. We read the petition to the lawmakers, to the both the Senate and the representatives. We did that. We
But then if you did that to put a halt on the census,
Then
then
you
why
support
are
the
you
CPP
expecting that the
stance.
voter registration should continue or go
Yeah.
on?
but
Because they
the
haven't come
voter
back.
registration,
I'm
the
coming
voter
quick.
registration is different from the census.
Yeah, agreed. But it's a part of, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not part of, because to say
Census
that it
determine
means
the size of the
When you go to
population, the total
register, yeah.
population, sir. Am I right?
I understand that. I understand that. But when the census is not correct, do you want to accept now that the population in Grand Cru is 107,000?
We
But
don't.
then,
You
but then
can't.
the people
And
in
two,
Grand Group weren't looking forward
I'm
to vote.
no, but I'm saying to you, you can't. But forget about what you said. We are telling you the census cannot go ahead because of their own regulations of the laws that you signed to and ECOWAS protocol. ECOWAS protocol is saying to you that you cannot amend the electoral laws 6 months to election. You
So
can't do
Volcano,
that.
So do
That's
we
not
postpone the
LPP.
no,
election?
Volcano, asking this
But
question
that's
here
what
for
we're
me.
saying. You
Is
cannot put if you
he
postpone, you
proposing
cannot
that
postpone the election
we
because
just
the law
continue and
requires
forget
that
about the
election should
census
be held
report?
on October
Yeah.
10th. So it's, that's not the position of the political party that stated that. That's the law of the land. The law of the land says you have to have election on October 10th. That's the law of the land. Then, of course, ECOWAS protocol is saying you cannot change the electoral laws 6 months to election.
So
LPP didn't say that.
so then what
That's
happens
the
here?
law of ECOWAS. That's the law we signed.
So then what happens here if these things are not they're not being done right for per se? The census should have been held in 2018, and here we are
Right.
2022 with results coming up 2023, and then we have elections down the road, and you said some of those things are not constitutional, and potentially,
No,
we
I'm
still.
not saying it isn't like what the Constitution
No, no,
says.
no. I'm saying in terms of your answers you're given. I'm just saying. I mean,
Oh,
but
okay.
we have elections coming up on October 10th. If all of these things are not in line with the timetable, do you see or foresee that this election could be postponed? Could that be a
But
possible
that's
call?
what we don't want. That's what we don't want. We don't want to, because you're gonna have a constitutional crisis. Do you want that? You don't want that. It's like you want to
So
score
then,
90
so then, put for some of the
on
way.
exam.
So then, put to our listeners and viewers here tonight some of the possible way forward with all of the irregularities that's ongoing and more to come. I'm sure, because if the foundation didn't get started right, then of course the house or the building going to be shaky. So we can see more things going to happen as we go along. So what would be some of the best, proposal solutions that you can put forth here tonight?
For example, we are saying in the IT, the technology of trying to get control of the computer. We need international assistance in our area. We have, in fact, begun the road to begin to find out who we can talk to help us to get somebody in the IT department to make sure that they'll be able to manage. You need an international observer to do that. We are asking our police, the political parties, to be in the field to make sure that the staffers of NEC are adequate, they are financed correctly in terms of what they eat, where they stay, the transportation. For example, a couple of places our agents visited for the last 2 days. Some of the areas there were no lights. Some of the places they started too late. Some of the places the lines were too long. It was impossible to carry out. Some of the places the NEC staff said, you know why? We're only dealing with people who are already registering online. Even though you be online all this time, we're not going to serve you. We only serve people who already have registered through their iPhone. That's what we're talking about. Can we have more political parties to encourage the staff of NEC to do the right thing? Can we have international companies helping us so that we can have more people that will monitor or at least that will assist the NEC to perform the job? We have said over and over the incompetence of the commission of the NEC is serious, very serious. And we need to take it seriously to make sure that we do the right thing, that at least we can minimize the fraud. Yes, some people will be denied, but at least we'll have an election that will not result into chaos. That's what we're saying. Let's have the international community helping us at least to go hand in hand with the staff at NEC to make sure that we do register the people according to the laws, according to managerial principles, to make sure we do the right thing. That's what we're saying we should do. Because other than that, we're going to have a constitutional crisis come October 10th.
And if that doesn't happen, what happens then?
But doesn't happen what? In terms of
all of the things you put forth.
We don't want to think negatively. We are saying to be negative.
But with the current,
yeah,
but Mr. Zizza, with the current modus operandi around everything that's happening, you got to have room for negativity, room for uncertainty. Wouldn't that be true?
Well, but the uncertainty should not be to the extent that it would prevent us from having an election. What happened in 2017? There were errors, there were mistakes. And the court said, the Supreme Court said, well, there were mistakes, they were not material enough, to invalidate the election results. So that's the same situation we have here. We have issues that are going on. People didn't vote on time, but we hope from now to April 9, the first phase. For example, even the first phase, we said that's the wrong way to go. We should do the voter registration simultaneously across the county, because you don't want people who today are registering in Maserado, tomorrow will go to Nimba and register there, or will go to Bon County and register, or go to Lofa and register, because we have observed that many times during election, people who are residing in Monrovia end up voting in the counties, respective counties that they come from. How are we going to prevent that? If we're going to have phase 1, phase 2 arrangement, you have the registering taking place in Maserado in 6 counties, and then later on you have a registering taking place in Lofa, Riverside, Nimba, Grand Gila. You're going to encourage fraud. And I'm not too sure the equipment, the device they have is synchronizing the results of, in fact, the DNA, that the DNA that is taken in Grand Gila automatically can be synchronized with all the DNAs that are taken across the country. So you can't have one person registering today in Maserado County, a month down the line, it will be registering in Grand Gila. Is there a way to ensure that, in fact, you have a computer processing unit that all of the data or the data will be in one area so that a double DNA can be flagged and be removed from the system. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. That's what we think is possible to do the right thing. If we all just begin to say, okay, we didn't want this, but this is where we are. Can we move forward?
So where's the LPP now with regards to your vice president? Everybody's trying to talk about the vice presidency now. The UP, this
The old folks can't elect ours. Now you want them on the new kid on the block. We don't do. We where we are now, and we started this way. We are saying there are too many things at stake today to be worried over who's going to be secretary of state, who's going to be vice president. That can come anytime. Look, you got a budget that has been submitted. The Senate has not voted on it. What are the other parties saying? You got a budget that is showing you that in fact money that you are being included in the budget is not included, or that have been paid. You don't see any information in our budget that our debt being reduced because of payments. Why? We see, for example, that there are increases in certain areas that should concern anybody. You have they call it other assets that increased from 7 million, it gone to 131 million in 2023. How is that possible? What are the non-other fixed assets? They are appropriated for road, they are appropriated for equipment, they are appropriated for machinery, but you got other equipment that or other assets that you appropriated 131 million when you have only 5 million for agriculture, when you have spending less than 4% on education, when Sierra is spending 22% on education. I mean, if we concern ourselves about those issues, for example, if we have 30% in metal fee and has been reduced to 15%, are we receiving our dividend? If we're receiving our dividend, is the amount included in our budget? Because when we start including the dividend, the profits in our budget in terms of total revenue, that will reduce the force to borrow money. Right now, our debt has gone to 1.9 billion. That was the same like principal amount in 1989 until the December 25th insurrection took place in 1989. That led us for us to pay 4.0. We were required to pay 4.7 billion. We are now at that stage. We are 1.9 billion. Should that be our concern? Journalists, what are you guys doing? Are you guys asking the leaders or asking these people who want to be vice president, who want to be president, what are they doing about the deficit? Look, the last time we were pressing Ghana, Egypt, okay, Kenya. Today, they are considered to be the sport shy of debt management, domestic debt management. Today, the CD in Ghana is sinking. Today, in the United States, banks are having trouble. Why? Cash. If we begin to think about that, you can take political power tomorrow. But if the coffers are empty, you're not going to provide the services you promised. And you know what will happen to you? George Weah or Ellen government will look better than you are because you don't have the money in the first to buy gasoline. That's what we've been talking about. So yes, they talk about vice presidency. It's okay to talk about the minister of state. It's okay. But when this government is appropriating 44 million for lawmakers who go nowhere, who just sit in Monrovia, and you give them 5 million to agriculture, you give them 12% to education. I mean, to me, those are our concerns. Those are the issues we should be debating now. Not don't worry, because you can appoint anytime. Look at Joe Buckeye, the Honorable Joe Buckeye. When did he appoint his vice president in 2017? How many months the election? So why should we worry about that now? Let's worry about bringing the citizen on board so we can determine what we want. Look, we have Egypt, a desert country, exporting rice. You have Liberia. With all of these natural resources, we are still importing rice. Should not be an embarrassment for us. So us, for LPP, that's the concern. That's what you want to do. It's visiting the rural villages, talking to the people to say, how can we move from where we are to somewhere where we can make Liberia a better place to be. He is visiting the towns, the villages. He went to the hometown of the mother of our powerful president, Honorable George Weah. He went there. He went there. He went to Prince Johnson Town and to talk to the people to find out how we can find out how we move forward. We are leaving the people out of the issue of discussion. We believe the issues are so sophisticated, we shouldn't act them. I think that is wrong. We should visit the people, engage them to find out why we are having trouble. Look, we went to, this kind of quick arrangement. We did it in 2003 in Ghana, right? We went to say, okay, forget about discussing issues. Let's thoroughly put a government together. What did we do? We elected warlords the wrong way. In 2005, we said, let's discuss them. But they, oh, no, forget it. Let's get rid of Judy Bryant. Jack Clan, who was representing the United Nations, said, forget about discussion. Just remove Judy Bryant. The problem would be solved. That's not true. So equally too, we said, okay, let's remove Ellington Khalid. If Honorable Joe Weah comes into the picture, he's going to do well for us because he has the people at heart. Did that materialize? No. We got more people stealing than ever before. Now we are not worrying about talking about how we can fight corruption. We're worrying about how we can have John Brown to be minister, David Peter to be a director, John Brown
and Mr. Zizza will understand the point here. But the reason why we ask the question because it's the season. Everyone is concerned who the running mate of these real front runner would be because it's a way to tell us what kind of leadership to expect. But overall, we want to thank you so much for being here. It's unfortunate that the constraint with regards to you not being able to be in studio, and my brothers really wanted to grill you. But we're here to be, considered the echo guy and relaying the questions. So we'll bring you back here. I'm sure at some point, hopefully things will materialize on your end with respect to connectivity and all of that. And we'll bring you back here because, again, as I said, sir, so much more to discuss as we go forward. So we want to thank you so much for the opportunity to join us here tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Any closing statement? Anything you want to say?
We are encouraging people. We say to you, go out and register. If you don't register, you will not vote. Yes, there will be some people who may be denied, but majority people will participate. Please register and vote. Vote, 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 and vote wisely.
Thank you. Thank you. The voice of Mr. J. Yankwe Zeze. He is the current chairman of the Liberia's People Party, the party that carrying Councillor Tiawon Se Gonglo. He's not a new name, he's a household name in Liberia, speaking to us here on some of the issues involving the census result and the voter registration and how much of the process not going well, but it's hope that we don't have to go to postpone our elections and have a constitutional crisis. He feels that we can still go on with the elections if we do some things, and some of those things he mentioned. Gentlemen, thought it was a good conversation. Unfortunately, we couldn't do much, but that's what type of country it is.
I know.
You contact the guest makes the effort coming, and then start bluffing or Celcom bluffing, and that's what it is. So let me quickly welcome Thomas Harvey. Been a while, my man. You were in Liberia enjoying yourself. Welcome to the Issues Room. Welcome back. We encourage you. Richard Hammond, welcome. Thank you for joining us. JS Romeo Nabil, Flomo Livingstone. I think people were very much in tune to the Costa we are data. I don't know if you want to go back for 5 minutes before we go to what type of country is this, because I know, Alphonso, you wanted to be a part of the conversation. Do you want to go back for 5 minutes? All right. So Moses Sandy made a case that if he were to make a pick, he would pick Henry Costa over George Manawia, Dr. Manawia, matter of fact, Dr. Manawia, when it comes to the presidency. Alfonso, you heard him. He said that Costa is more of a leader than Mr. Weah.
So that is not even the debate that I want to have, because that should not be the debate that we're having at all. We shouldn't be this, as I said previously, George Weah should not be the yardstick that we use to gauge who will make a good president or a good leader for Liberia, because George Weah, quite honestly, is not. We should be aiming higher, not using George Weah as the yardstick. And that's why I kind of was opposed to Moses's argument that Costa is better than George Weah, and therefore he can make a good president and a good leader. Liberian people should look for people not necessarily because they're better than George, but we understand the issues, who can actually provide the leadership that we need to be in a better place than now. I don't know Mr. Costa. I'm not saying he's not, and he cannot be. I haven't listened to a single edition of his show, so I don't know him, and I can't make that judgment. But at the same time, I don't think our calculation should be anybody who we believe is better than George Weah will make a good president, for Liberia.
But look, I think Alfonso, you just defeated yourself. You said, and let's be honest here. How do you determine whether someone is qualified for a position or not when you don't know the person? You
But
know
the person
nothing
should
about the
have a
person.
resume. The person should have
No,
a
no,
resume,
but
and there
I,
must be
I'm
there
just
must
I'm just saying
yeah,
to my brother Alfonso. He
yeah.
said he knows little about Henry Costa,
Mhm.
and on that basis, it is very difficult for him to say whether he can do the job or not. But he's the same man who comes and say Henry Costa is just anybody. That's a
No,
contradiction. So let me
no,
say
no,
this.
No, he
that's
said
not,
Yeah,
and I
he
did
should
yeah,
be
not say
settled
so.
for anybody.
I
yeah,
went by your
yeah,
argument that Henry Costa is better than George Weah,
absolutely.
therefore he can be president. I'm
Yeah,
saying that shouldn't even be the conversation. I believe I'm better than George Weah. Can I be president
of
tomorrow?
course.
I believe that my daughter can do better than George Weah. Can she go be president tomorrow? We
Look,
should look for people.
let's look
Yes,
at who is
yes, the
eligible.
yardstick that I want to make here. Yes, the yardstick I think I wish you said here. And our
But
conversation should be because
let me
it
just
should
wrap
be
my
people
statement.
who have been, it should be people who have a demonstrated track record.
Hmm.
It should be people who have been tested.
Hmm.
And I think that's what Volcano alluded to when he talked about resume.
Hmm.
Your rest, I don't have to personally, there are people you have interviewed, you don't have to personally know them, but you
No.
look at their resume, you look at their track record, what have they done. For kind of talk about what organization has the person led, and this shouldn't be about Costa. If we, let's say Moses Peter, what organization has Moses Peter led? What's Moses Peter's track record in that organization that he's led? What That's the resume of Moses Peter that you should be looking at. Not necessarily that you believe that Moses Peter is better than Alphonso or Volcano Shelton. That's a subjective criteria. Let's use objective criteria here to determine that.
But it comes back again to to say that you agree with me. I'm using objective, analysis to determine who is
But
qualified and who
but
is
there's
not
no object.
qualified.
There's no
Yeah,
Moses. You
yeah.
can say that. You
No,
can. You
but Volcano, let me complete my
Moses.
thoughts.
Moses.
No,
Let me
but the man spoke. Let me complete my
Yeah,
thoughts.
but I don't want you to come here and say that because why? And I will say this: you come here, brother. You
Yeah.
have Henry Costa, who's never
Hmm.
led anything. He's never led Liberia. But you have George Weah, who's led Liberia for 5 going 6 years.
Hmm.
So there's a track record here.
Hmm.
And what make you to think that because you know what George Weah has done and is capable of, so Henry Costa can be better than George Weah? Maybe Henry
Absolutely.
Costa can come in and be even worse than George Weah because we haven't seen any track record of leading. Henry Costa never been minister in his life. Henry Costa never even been a director. The same reasons why we're seeing the same thing about George Weah. He had no leadership. We agreed upon it as the Liberian people. He had no leadership. We put him in the Senate. He still didn't demonstrate leadership because he had no leadership. And they say, oh, the boy loved the country. So in this case, we see Henry Costa can talk. He talking plenty. He's charismatic. He can
It goes
mobilize.
beyond that.
But where is the leadership? What has he led that
But
you
look,
must give your country to him? Because that's the case you're making, that he's better than we are. At least
yeah,
I know we are has led the country down the gutter for 5 years. And where will Henry Costa take the country with no track record?
there are a couple of things that when we talk about leadership.
Okay.
Okay, first let's look at the Liberian level. The presidency. Who becomes president? The Constitution provides that you be 35. Henry Costa meets that criteria. Henry Costa is a natural born Liberian. He meets that, like George Weah, any of them, they fall in that category. To lead, you must have the ability to monitor and supervise. Henry Costa has that. George Weah, no. He has led Liberia for over a year, never held a cabinet meeting. So he's out of the question. Henry Costa, is he in tune with happenings globally? Yes. Is George Weah in tune with happenings globally? No. Henry Costa, does he have a vision for where he wants to see Liberia? Yes. George Weah, does he have a vision for where he wants to see Liberia? No.
Yes. And I would take that from
He
you.
has no vision.
He has a vision because
The only vision George Weah has for Liberia is to enrich himself. That's why when he came in less than 6 months, he started what? Building condominiums for himself. Isn't that true? So then how do you
know what?
how
But
do you
know what
compare
Costa
somebody
would
who
do?
is
But-
dismally, who
so
is
my question
dismally
out to you:
performing
do you know
in
what?
every aspect of leadership? Mr. Weah does not hold people accountable. First thing, he does not even know what the institutional policies are. Henry Costa has that ability.
So Moses, can you listen to the question Volcano was about to ask? George Weah, and I hate this conversation the trend is taking because we seem to be comparing George Weah and
Yeah,
Henry Costa,
I'm saying
which
if
we
George Weah
shouldn't
can
be
become
doing.
president,
We
Henry
should be
Costa is
talking
also
about
qualified to
who is
become
good
vice
for our
president.
country.
And I'm not
But
saying.
having said so, you are looking at George Weah's resume. You have George Weah's resume in your hand, Moses. You haven't seen Henry Costa's resume in terms of performance. And that's the point
He
that
does.
Volcano is
That's
making.
what I keep saying here.
If
Henry Costa has a resume.
George Weah came and stole money and ate money and is continuing to steal money, he had power.
Henry Costa has a resume.
So, but
And
you
I
are
can
not
give you,
talking about,
and I
but
can
here's
give
the
you some
deal.
of the positive things
But
that
you are not talking
reflected
about
in
that
that
resume. You're only talking about how better it is than George Weah. Talk about the
So
resume.
let me give you the resume, right?
Mhm.
Having a resume does not necessarily mean that you have to work in the public sector. Henry Costa owned a media entity in Liberia. He operated it. Henry Costa runs private businesses in Liberia. All of that comes along with what? Leadership. And these businesses are thriving. George Weah, let's come back to George Weah.
Liberian people say that Alexander Cummings is a corporate businessman. He know anything about politics. He can't run our country.
No, I'm comparing two individuals. So what I'm saying here is that we should not discount Henry Costa.
But that's not what we said. But when you talk,
no, but what you guys implying?
No.
No.
Nobody's
You know why the conversation
that.
started? Alphonso, let me lead him back.
Yeah,
we were talking about it, and then you said Costa can even be a better president.
Yes.
In Liberia.
Mhm.
And I said, you said because he's a leader, and I asked you to tell me how is he a leader? You said because he can mobilize, because he can talk.
Mhm.
That's not leadership. It's attributes to have. But when it comes to leading change, when it comes to leading people,
Mhm.
it's a whole different ball game until you sit in the driver's seat. Mobilizing people to cause chaos here and there, or the mobilize.
When you mobilize, it's not always in the negative.
Huh?
When you mobilize people, it's always not in the negative. You mobilize people for both positive and negative.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the point here is, let's not. And Alfonso is right. You cannot make comparison to the two brothers because one is already the president. We have a resume,
and we are seeing a limitation at all levels.
But you're seeing it, and the Liberian people are saying no, they're going to put him back.
Oh, really?
They're gonna put him back.
So yeah, so then it comes back to what I was saying. If the Liberian people would decide to put this man who has demonstrated over the past 5 years or so that he lacks all of the attributes of leadership, if the Liberian people would decide to re-elect him, then what makes him different from Henry Costa?
But because they know his track record, they don't know anything
Oh,
about Henry
okay.
Costa. Henry Costa went to the representative seat. He
And then
failed
he was,
because they didn't.
yeah, he ran. He
I
never
don't see he
won.
ran
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they didn't have a track record. They had a track record of George Weah. He was playing football. He loved the country. He was coming. He was spending his own money. He was taking the night. So, you getting me, Alfonso?
Exactly.
There was some
Oh,
track record there. So they
I
had
agree.
track record.
I
But-
agree with you
Yeah,
guys.
But
I
I
think
think-
what we should do here.
Yeah.
I think what we should do here before
But we gotta
move
go to
on.
what type of country is
Yeah, I
this?
think what we should
Let's
do
put it
here,
in there.
real quickly, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I think the best we can do for our country is not to use people who we know have flunked
Or as yardstick.
as the yardstick for doing better. There are better
agree,
examples.
Alfonso.
There are better examples out there that we can look at and try to emulate.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And quickly, Volcano, let me just say this about the elections. The voter registration process. The voter registration process started yesterday, and there have been series of problems. Extreme delays. People staying in queue for more than 6 hours. Even the former Minister of State, Nathaniel McGill, complained about that. The district in which in Margibi he went to register, he said they were in queue for more than 4 hours. The problem, technological problem, some of the areas are inaccessible when it comes to internet connectivity. I am told that some of the voter registers that went for the training, each of them should have gotten 15,000 Liberian dollars. It is reported that the NEC gave each of the voter registration staff 1,500 Liberian dollars. Forget it. I leave it that way over there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our viewing public, it's time for what type of country is this?
Yes.
Alfonso said we should Liberianize it and say what kind of country is this? So probably we might end up changing the name
What kind of country is this,
after we
eh?
discuss behind the scene. But if you want what kind of country is this in the Liberian parlance, then let us know. But originally, is what type of country is this? What type of country is this? What type of country is this?
Yeah.
When Moses can say Costa would be a good VP. What type of country is this?
What?
What type of country is this that Henry Costa name is in the equation now and Moses is making the case?
Yeah.
That's what Thomas Awaji said. What type of country is this?
And what type of country is this when Liberians show up in mass in 2017 and elected somebody who reads at the third grade level as president of the country? What type of country is this?
Oh God.
Please start sending your what type of country is this. Now, I got one here.
Yeah.
Third grade level. Oh God. Third grade level, Moses.
What type of
Yeah, the
country
man
is
reads at the
this?
third grade level, yeah.
When two sick people lying in a room, they got to share the oxygen.
The oxygen
They put the
thing.
oxygen to the man, the other person knows, and then he breathes. But hey, man, say, "But man, hurry up, let me breathe too." And then the next speaker take the oxygen for that man nose and carry to the other man nose, so the other man can breathe too. So the next just going back and forth until the oxygen finish. But that in JFK is doing that one. What type of country is this?
And
That we
just-
have to ration and share oxygen between two patients in the
we
same
share
room.
the oxygen tank. Eh?
You move me about. My man, but let me breathe too now. You holding the thing too long. What type of country is
He said,
this?
"My man, out of breath." And why you kept giving the thing, my man? But look, what type of country is this? What type of country is this when you have a case, you go to the police, and the police officer tell you, say, oh, my man, we won't go, but we don't have car.
Well, what type of country is there when you run to the police station, you carry your kids and say, "But pay our way so we can go in the area and go find out."
So G. Gwen John Smith says,
Yeah.
what kind of country is this?
Thank you, yeah, G.
Costa
What kind of country?
single-handedly destroyed the CPP just to be VP.
Oh,
Thomas Awaji say, what type of country is this when people catch malaria 3 times in 1 month?
You go to the hospital, but man, all that diagnosis,
all they can say you got malaria. Oh, you got typhoid.
Oh, that the reason why they gave everybody drip?
But then you go there, man, they say, oh, man, that malaria, man.
Somebody said here the other day, what type of country is this when we have a part-time president? the president, a part-time president. The president in the States or here in the US, or we know how long he will be here.
Maybe you're going to be here for 3 months, oh.
No, I think Biden will lie, man, to stay here for 3 months, oh. What? Now, what they got to play Middle East, he can go black. But like, who taxpayers gonna be paying for a hotel?
Yeah, Secret Service and all of that.
Yeah,
for 3 months.
Raymond Clark says, "What type of country is this? It's like the citizens living on Sabiba base."
Sabiba base. What type of country is this, eh? What type of country is this that you go to work after a few months without pay and you ask for your salary, then your supervisor says you are suspended for time indefinite because you are rude?
Aku Joseph come and say, what type of country is this where money can lose no trace? No trace, my man.
No trace, my man.
$16 billion.
Going breeze. Samuel Trust said I took $25 million and took it to the money exchangers.
What type of country then when you take $25 million US, they're going to
money exchanger
and giving to people to go change money for you?
Can you imagine what type of country that the finance minister would take 25 million United States dollars and give it to money changers on the street, according to him, and nothing came out of it.
Exactly.
Nothing till today.
Yep.
Nothing. $25 million of our raw cash money. This man get share among themselves. They started building all the BB building, and he said he took it on the street.
Yeah, to get the money as cheap.
What type of this is only Liberia. Honestly. Only Liberia. Thomas Awaji says here, what type of country is this? When a car killed the dog and the people are fighting over the dog dead body.
Because everybody got something to eat that day.
No, me.
What type of country is this, man?
What type of country is this when in the whole national budget they gave $5 million to agriculture, but they gave the legislators. Yeah. Oh. But go ahead, was it?
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Meanwhile, each legislature makes no less than $2 million a year.
What type of country is this?
What type of country is this with so many radio stations and few listeners?
Yeah.
What type of country is this?
You got over 100 newspapers, but you got no advertiser.
But not only the 1 million newspaper. How many people are literate to read?
You have no advertisers, man.
A lot of the newspaper people open newspapers so they can get advertisement, make money.
Yeah, and the purpose of advertisement,
Joseph says, what type of country is this?
Oh my God.
Unless they eat women before they get job.
Woo! Cool.
Take it easy now, Aku.
Yeah, man.
But listen to this one.
Yeah.
What type of country is this? That the country is on sales according to Ahmad Fremont, half price off. So it's 50%.
The country is on sale.
The country is on
sale, man. The country is operative, man. What type of country is this?
What type of country is this? That the incumbent starts campaigning outside the election timetable.
Yeah. What type of country is this?
What type of country is this?
What
They'll
type of
go
country
everywhere.
is it? Yeah. What type of country is this? When you have a former minister of state who is sanctioned, he once declared that he wanted to be senator, but now he has changed to be representative.
Oh,
Okay, and there for the position of representative.
oh, he running for representative
Yeah,
now.
the net change.
Oh my God.
apparently, he
That's not
see
a rat.
a way to be senator. Apparently, he see a way to be senator.
Yeah, they counted to be
Yeah.
representative position where you get
Forget about look at it here.
1,000
I can't
people
win
vote
the
for you.
country here.
They counted to be.
So I was glad representative.
What type of country is this? When senators are sitting in the open pin doing a confirmation hearing and telling the candidate, "You got my vote."
What type of country is this?
What type of country is this?
What type of country is this, right?
What type of country is this, Moses? When you go to the bank to get your own money, you got to bribe the teller
Oh yeah.
and officials in the bank.
Yeah.
You got to tell you, all that money you came for a 2 plenty. You got to get a small thing so we can go talk to the
to the
manager.
chief, eh?
Yeah. What type of country is
What
this?
type of country is it? Can you imagine, man? You
Your
got to
own
pick
money,
up your own money,
you
or
save
you
your
got to
money,
bribe
trying to
people.
get your money out, they're telling you, say,
They say they ain't got enough money in the bank.
Yeah. You got to make withdrawal from your own account. Then you literally begging people. He said, my people, hey man, I need this money for this. They said, but my man, we can't get you that money. It's
You
too
gotta
much.
die
But
there.
Moses,
You gotta die there.
Yeah.
Moses and Alphonso, what type of country is this? You catch all this weapon. Nobody
Yeah.
know where the weapon are now.
No, that's secret.
What type of country is this?
Well, maybe that a weapon the other people holding, undercover.
Telling me this is a serious matter.
All this big display, all that big display, that big
Yeah,
news
all that
conference,
weapon, the people
everything
we
went
know
zero.
But what type of country is this that every case they say it got to end in a logical conclusion, and we haven't gotten to the logical conclusion.
Logical conclusion can never come. Man. What type of country is this?
we don't have logic.
Yeah.
The country lacks logic. So
Yeah,
you can't conclude
everything,
with
but man, we want logical conclusion, but the logic never comes.
But what type of country is this right now that we don't have the likes of Mother Ducle,
Yeah,
the likes of Jasper Undabolo,
yeah.
the likes of Bishop Brown, Michael Pakala Francis, those
what
people
type of
who used to
country is
speak
this?
truth to power. What type of country is this that the president now is speaking truth to himself? Now he go on a pulpit now.
Yeah.
What type of country is this?
What, what type of country is this when you have a president who wins all the tournaments in the country?
The man are first player.
The man are MVP.
Mr. Kringa says, what type of country is this when Moses Sandy is saying that Henry Costas, an extortionist, is qualified to be vice president?
Moses is on the campaign. Moses is on the campaign team. It's a Delaware thing.
What type of country is this? Thomas Awaji is saying that when you can't find a dishwashing job unless you sleep with someone.
Oh my
What
God.
type of country is this? And that's true, my man. Even the
What type of
janitors,
country
man.
is this from Randolph Jab Francis? Is that creates only two types of job: campaign writing and cell phone journalism.
I like that, my man. And get what? Everybody got TV
God.
show.
That was a funny one, man. Let me go back. Two
I
types
like
of job: writing pen and cell phone journalism. But man, our professional sport is writing
Yeah,
now.
but everybody got TV
Cell phone
station.
journalism. But Amma Freeman says, what type of country is this when the president owns a private jet?
Yeah. And the entire country.
And the country don't even have helicopter.
Not even have a fire truck.
Fire truck. Those are what you say sitting down on 4 flat tires.
Yeah. What type of country is this?
I like that one.
Yeah.
Two jobs in the economy with cell phone journalists, and riders.
Oh my God.
Alfonso, do you see when these people hold? I mean, big press conferences. These people
Yeah.
just can't lay their cell phone in down.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
my man. Oh, my
Exactly.
man.
And I
Everybody got
wonder,
TV station. You talking about what?
the whole
How
TV
are they
station,
even
right?
My man,
entering
you
these
heard
places?
inventing the people?
But Moses, how are
Yeah.
they even entering these places? Some of them even got no pass, no nothing.
No, but
No,
my man,
no
everybody got
accredited.
vex.
Well,
Don't you see
You and
vex?
myself, they
Press?
they can fix those fake vex and
That's
wear
what I'm
it.
saying.
yeah.
Everybody got
Yeah.
a vex.
But
Yeah,
the so-called newsmaker wants coverage, so those guys go there
They
for
don't
their
care.
cartel,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
everybody
then
go for something, man.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
that's about it.
You know. So what
When
type of
Johnson
country is
Smith
this?
says, what type of country is this when our football president be watching European soccer all day, but our national team is at an all-time low?
Low.
tell
What
you.
type of? I like that going.
What type of country is this when the city mayor of Monrovia goes to work at 5 p.m. and leaves office at
Office
3
at 3
p.m.?
p.m.
Oh,
No, something not right here. How can he go at 5
He
p.m.
go
and
at
leave
3
at 3?
p.m. and leave at 5 p.m.
I think he may go at 3 and leave at
and
5.
leave at 5.
but what type of country is this when the Minister of State for President, former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, enter
Yeah.
LU 2005
He said
and graduated
2001.
2002
Exactly,
or
2001.
2001?
The message I went to LU 2005 and graduated 2001.
that reverse education.
That reverse. He got a degree before he enter.
Yeah.
Hey, God. Hey, Baba, oh, save our country. Save
What
our
type of
country.
What type of country is this
What
when
type of
you
country
have
is this? Uncle Joseph Koma. People cannot take pay and finance minister say the economy is performing.
Performance. What kind of performance is that?
That's true, man.
Yeah.
the economy performing.
They got
But
the
people get
biggest,
pay.
they got the biggest budget.
What type of performance?
The people say they got the
Bragging about the biggest budget.
Yeah. They got
Thomas,
the
what
biggest
you say?
budget, but you can't pay the people.
What type of country is this? Or what kind of country is this when the mayor is not in the office and the entire building is in darkness for the rest of the
For the rest of
employees?
the employees.
Oh my
So
God.
they only turn the curry off when the mayor
They pass on
to merely turn that generator off. Everybody stay.
You know, when the mess will be there on 1 o'clock, you call and tell the people, say you're turning the generator
I'm on my way. You turn it on.
You turn it on, coming.
Jesus, my man, this is interesting.
Oh God.
But look,
We are those. What type of country is this when a former soccer icon is president, but soccer has died under his watch?
what type of country is this?
What type of country is this, Moses? Huh? What type of country is this?
Yeah. Can you imagine, my man, a former soccer icon, my man, and football died in the country?
The man's a soccer icon. The man,
The football died,
youth and sport minister was also a goalkeeper. And
yeah, and football died in the
Yeah,
How they
country.
cheering now, watching video or something, to
But
watch.
man, European
And I like what
the country.
I like what Gwen said that the men prefer to watch European soccer.
Exactly.
Why
All day.
national team sitting on Broad Street to the Attire Center or Curry Street?
Everybody operating, my man.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Eh, our country.
What type of country is this?
So, gentlemen,
When they
it's-
call
it's-
somebody
it's wrap up
Director
time.
General Elena, but the man spend his entire day in the street with cell phone.
I mean, up with now. The man at DG.
Yeah, how can you be Director General? You spend your entire day in the street with cell phone in your hand. You say you reporting.
Mother, that your one going over there.
What type of country is there? They call you Lena Director.
We can't say he not joining you down.
I'm joining you now.
They call you Lena Director General, but you spend your entire day in the street. You got one little cell phone in your hand.
What type of country is this when 4 others just die mysteriously and the president will go to his desecrated pulpit and says it was boyfriend and girlfriend business?
Yeah, what type of country is
What type of country is this? What kind of country is this? The NEC is using outdated voters registration from last election 2017 to register 2023 voters.
I tell you, my man. I foresee chaos.
Yeah. Now you
Man,
say.
what type of country is this when Grand Crew County will double its population?
in 1 week, because they did a census in 1 week.
Yeah. Grand Crew got 89% increase. Yeah.
The place is depopulated. It has basically no economic life, but yet they double their population.
in 1 week. In 1 week. So what type of country is this? That Grand Crew County double its population size in 1 week.
In 1 week, though.
In 1 week.
People
And,
almost,
and we can't see the human being. And like Mr. Zizi said, houses should be there to show proof, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but then the people are sleeping in the trees.
The people that are asleep on their farms.
No, man, don't put your mom on play.
They put it go on the farm.
When Grand Crew are sleeping in the trees.
We don't sleep in trees.
But when we enter the town, we can't see the houses, but the population is
Mr. Gringa says, what type of country is this when the first branch of government is only interested in passing a budget that is not in the interest of the Liberian population?
What type of country is this?
What type of country is this?
Everybody
He's right.
getting the
The first branch of government, all they want to do pass budget. What in the budget? Once they own a little portion in the budget is all suited for them. That's it. They don't care about the rest of the country. And then you see Liberian people, they're gonna go back to them to vote them, and they will do it.
Again.
What type of country is this that Liberian people just stupid? They put the same bad people there on there. What type of country is this? Yeah.
And forget it. What type of country is there when you're driving, you get to the traffic light, when the light turns red and you're waiting for the light, then the people honking in their horns behind you. Oh, my man, you stupid, man. Let's go.
My man is stupid. Let's go, man.
Okay, let's go. You said, no, my man, the light is red. They said, my man, you stupid.
Oh, God. Look.
All right, gentlemen.
Oh, God.
Let's go around the room quick with our one minute, and let's call it a night. Great conversation.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good therapy for me.
Nothing like that session.
Let's take this part. What type of country is this from going we are doing when the president is chasing behind all the female employees?
And I want the party chairman say.
But now what though?
But yeah, the message the party chairman is saying.
What type of country is this, Emmanuel Jackson? The lawmaker takes rebel to the university campus to break the law.
Yeah, what type of country is this?
So on our post, somebody, I think it was Mike Davis, William Mike Davis. The question was, what type of country is this? He said, a country of rogues, crooks, and rebels.
A country of social generals, my man.
Everybody is a general.
Yeah, my man. They call it man general, my man. They say, well, when did you get your raise? He said, my man, don't be shit to me.
What type of country is this, Orlando Kringa?
Yeah.
When police IG cannot bring the armed robbers to book.
They asked him, man, they said, are there people carrying guns? He said, no. The Justice Minister said, yes.
So they didn't even coordinate before they went to
they didn't want
to. What type of country is this? Going we are do. When the president travels with large crowds and brings nothing tangible to benefit the country and the poor people.
Yeah, and put the people in expensive hotels.
Yeah, the man travel with what, 50 to 60 people and come back empty-handed.
And the people come, you ask them, man, why are you on the train? You say, my man, get out of here.
the one that per dime too, my man. Like,
Yeah.
They say, Moses, why you on the train? He said, what me?
He said, "My man, get out of me, ba."
Yeah, I don't need to the train.
He said, he said, "My man, where do you work?" He said, "My man, I work in LEO." But why are you on the trip?
oh my
And I
man,
said,
move,
"My man,
man.
me
They
no
just out
final.
of me, man.
And I'm a sister. She get out of me."
What type of country is this when the killers are walking in the community? Thomas Awaji.
No, Jesus. Volcano.
You say, what type of country is this that has so many generals? When you add a general, my man, but when you went to military academy and got your right, and you say, what?
Yeah,
My
don't
man,
bring
move
it
from
straight
here,
to me.
man. I not said to me. Oh God.
You must say with spotted here, Jenna.
Play with me, I will show you who I am.
Yo, truck with you, eh?
Yeah, you ask me that question, Jenna. I will show you myself.
The general will show you yourself.
Yeah. You can't stay from me. Ask me when I'm speaking general. Lead that man with spotted Jenna.
All right. Okay. We got one more to go before we leave. What type of country is this? Aku
Yeah.
Joseph Koma, where everyone is manager and working under the ministry of ups and downs and fighting for survival.
Fighting for survival. I like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
can you imagine my man? The man walk from way broad, man. He get to Broad Street, sit down, my man. How am I going home? He said, my man, I gotta go to my mental finance. Oh.
But the man gotta go home. And the man came to town for a purpose. He got cancer anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And then
Have
go to
mercy.
find out, then they say, "Chi, your man, kid is telling me, I'm not here, man." You know, we're talking about that. Somebody share joke with me. Let me get you. So the guy said, "You know, my man, no, my man, the guy can harass us so much. I didn't know forget it again. They can have you. So the guy said he was so lying. You know, one of the men he went to school way back. So the guy, he saw the guy online and he just said hi, my man. The guy responded immediately. So before the discussion could be over, my man, the man sent a photo. He said, my man, look, again, now my daughter. But man, I need for you to help me with telling her so I can carry her to the hospital. So the man sent the money to the guy electronically. So the man received the telling her, then he sent another message, my man. Oh, but you not even give me that?
No,
No, man, that's what the guy found. He said, but my man, you not even give me that. So the guy said, what are you talking about? He said, my man, just say additional $20 again. So the guy said, he just discontinued the conversation.
No way. Mr. Kringer says, what type of country is this where the judicial system cannot bring the rapists to justice? Thomas Awaji says, what type of country is this where the entire city is a marketplace?
Marketplace, yes.
Everywhere.
Yeah, that one. So in fact, Volcano, you can speak to
that. Oh, yeah. Everywhere.
You go brush, can you imagine Eliu Kemba watching the video when the guy then went there account grave? My man, look at all the market stores, my man. I said, what? Eliu Kemba?
Yeah. Even selling Duka Flare. Oh,
really?
Oh, yeah, they sell Duka Flare. Anything they sell.
Can you imagine Eliu Kemba's, my man? Then the market ground, my man.
Also, the student gotta go far to buy that.
Yes, you can buy right there, you get you be, man.
All right, my man. I tired laughing there. Let's go.
Yeah, my man. We gotta wrap this show, man.
Catch up on Friday.
Yep.
My people, thank you for being here with us. Thomas Awaji, Orlando Kringa, Godwin Wiado, Emmanuel Jackson, Aku, Joseph, Mapu Hall, Amma Fremont, as usual, Fergie Moyu. We say thank you, Randolph Jab, Francis, Gwen Jones Smith, all of you wonderful people. We say thank you for joining us, Raymond Clark, and the rest of you, Emmanuel Jackson, in the Boston area. We say thank you, JS Romeo Nabil, Midfield Deco. Thank you for coming through, Richard Hammer. It was good seeing you, Thomas Harvey, come back. Aretha Anderson, it was good seeing you. Welcome and thank you. Steve Watson, thank you for joining us here tonight. Joseph Conto, we say thank you. Trocon Moore, thank you. Lawrence Wesia Seya, thank you for joining us here tonight. We say thank you to Flomo Livingstone for also coming through. Everyone else, including Our Lady, Adiaha Umo, out there in Australia. We say thank you. Maria Gardell, thanks for joining us. Joseph Emmanuel Kwe. Well, Joseph Kwe is saying that he wants to come in the issues room. He's running for representative district number 7.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
we'll try to link with you so we can hear from you. Let's
Oh,
see
yeah.
what you made out of. You
Yeah.
Montreal Kringa, we say thank you for coming through. Pay Edward, Amy Bachu, and everyone who showed up here tonight. Moses, Alfonso, you guys have good nights,
You
and
did the
we'll be
same,
back here
man.
Friday, God's
Yeah.
willing, with
Good.
another thought-provoking
Good.
conversation.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank
It
you.
was indeed a great
Yeah.
show. It was a pleasure.
Moses sent me some campaign t-shirts, man.
Oh yeah, my man. I got all my t-shirts.
Oh,
I
you
got
mean
my unique
the Costa
t-shirt.
campaign, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Send
no,
me.
but let me tell you, I
But let
got
me
all my
just say this
t-shirts.
quick. Let me just say this quick.
Yeah.
My man Henry Costa,
Uh-huh.
you know, I'll call you my Peking because I older than you. The truth here is we're having a conversation is about our country. It's not particular to you. We just want the best for our country. And if God chooses you, so be it. Um, again, that's what it's about. But at least you made a point that you're not in the running, but you will accept if you were considered. So we hope for the best for Liberia, not a person, for the best for Liberia and not a person. That's
Thank
how I
you.
like to
Mhm.
put it.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
Good night,
good.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a pleasure, man.